recording. Welcome to the DQ and Q Lifestyle Podcast with me, Marcus, and today we're going to talk about lack of empathy and callousness. Do we know what these mean? Because I didn't. They said you're callous. Only callous I knew is the ones that you get on your fingers, like on your palms, sorry, like where your palms meet your fingers that you get from training. So I'm thinking callous, like, callous. All these words, rumination, callous, like, erratic, like, yeah, so they broke it down for me. This is over weeks. Everything I'm telling you about is not in one session. It's over weeks. It's not just always on me. Like I said, there's up to 10 people in the group, 10 convicts, 10 prisoners in the group. Yeah. So what I began to realize is, so callousness is the opposite of empathy. Like you've got your callous, you don't care in a sense. You are like you're hardened, because callous means like hardened. I'm guessing I even looked it up. So you're hardened to feelings. You're basically like feelingless. You're emotionless. Like you don't have that thing that stops you from doing something horrible to someone, or yeah, in a nutshell. And lack of empathy is being able to put yourself in people's shoes, like looking at life through their eyes, through like their experience that they're describing to you. Where sympathy is like seeing that somebody has got it hard and sympathizing that, being like that towards them. But empathy is like them saying, I've got no money, I've got nowhere to go. Where you're like, oh, fucking hell, love, that's tough, innit? But putting yourself in their shoes and thinking, whoa, no food. Like, you've got nowhere to go. Like stripping away your own. So imagining that you've got no food. You've got nowhere to go. Like, just so that when I'm seeing my people on my caseload and they're telling me this, like, I could just be like sympathizing with them and knowing that I am going to go home to food and I've got somewhere to go. And if I couldn't go to that house, I could go to that house. I couldn't go to that house. Do you know what I mean? There's like options. I do have some form of option. Where some people out there got no option. And understanding that and thinking, whoa, what would you do? Like, you got nowhere to turn, you have nothing. And not just like the practical side, like the feelings, like the saying. So it's easy to empathize. I didn't know what I was feeling. So I'm going to come down to feelings, and I ain't really spoke about feelings and emotions for a bit on a couple of pods. But that's what it's all about. It'll always come down to feelings and emotions and understanding those and being able to cope differently when these feelings come up and not doing the same reactionary stuff, being responsive. I'll always say the same stuff because it is the same stuff. And this is what I believe should be taught in schools, and not that magma is lava when it's underground. That's a meme that I've seen, and it just resonated differently because that's the kind of daft stuff that you learn that means nothing at all. Especially when you're like an English guy, like which mountain, where, what fucking lava, what, like who cares if I never ever knew what lava was, because I'd never see it. No one should really see lava. Like, if lava's coming, it's peak. You need to get out of there. You know the ones. Anyway, hay fever's not as bad today, but still the boat. I think it's gonna be a tough year, tough summer. Anyway, empathy. So I began to realize. So I didn't know what I was feeling. So if I didn't know what I was feeling, I won't really know what other people are feeling. But as I began to understand what I'm feeling, the first couple of feelings that I uncovered, and I thought I would fix, this was like after like 3 months or something of being under therapy, I realised when I was angry and or annoyed. And I was like, boom, I'm like thinking, like I was buzzing when I realised like that these physical sensations and this like thinking pattern is anger. Oh, sorry, annoyance. That's not anger and annoyance. Annoyance and frustration. Annoyance is anger. It can become like frustration, generally like imagine like a roller coaster, and when it pulls you up, as you get to the top, that's the frustration as we get to like the top, and then like boom, when it free falls, that's when we're free falling in anger or annoyance if someone's annoying you. So I'd say the feeling or frustration and annoyance. but the emotion is anger. So it's all the same, but feelings spread out more, and there's only so many emotions. It's easier if you look at a child. Children, rather happy, sad, angry, or scared. That's it. That's it. And then they begin as life, because life is just hard from when you're a kid. You start to develop more you don't worry really as a child. That comes later on, because you got forward thinking, so you're worrying about what's to come. Like a child doesn't really worry about what's to come. Do you know what I mean? It's all what's happening now. They react to what's going on now. They're always in the here and now, and we will talk about the here and now, and that is a powerful tool. If you've read The Power of Now, then you'll have some kind of understanding of the here and now. Now it's separate, it's different things, but it's similar as well. But a better book than The Power of Now is The Power of Now is blue, but then there's another one, same author, Eckhart Tolle or Tolle. It's an orange book, and it's called How to Use the Power of Now. Now I asked for The Power of Now when I was in prison, and I got sent the orange one, and I didn't know there was a different. And then someone comes down and says, "No, this isn't the right one." And then he brought his blue one down. But the first few pages of the power of my orange one, using the power of now, or how to use the power of now, it says basically the power of. I think mine had come out recently, or in closer years, more recent years, and the power of now been out a long time. And he's saying, as much as it went to number one, as much as this, that, and the other, no one knew how to use it. People knew what it was, but when it's like, also, how do you? People, I don't know. Nobody knew how to use it really. So it come out with the orange one, the how to use the power of now or something, or using the power of now, or harnessing the power of now, and that describes it. That tells you how to use it, and that was a decent tool in that, like observing yourself, like not just being, not thinking that you are your thoughts. Seeing that your thoughts are just there, like you're you, and your thoughts just come and go like a bus. Like the bus stop's just a bus stop, and the bus just comes, which is the thought or the feeling. But he talks about thoughts, and then the bus goes, but the bus stop still is. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like observing that. So it's like you're just able to stand back and just observe these buses to come up and go. Like what you're thinking, how you think. Like when someone says something to you, like what do you start thinking, but not embodying the thought, like. Just observing the thought, like, he's a fucking prick, what did you say that to me for? It's almost funny. Like when you're observing what you're thinking rather than, he's a fucking prick, what are you talking to me like that for? Do you know what I mean? Like as soon as a thought comes in your mind, you become it. Like, do you know what I mean? But it teaches you to step back from the mind and observe what's going on in the mind. So it's quite good that came about while I was there. So yeah, cop that book. How to Use the Power. It's orange. There should be just one, the blue one's the main one and the orange one, or if these two, get the more recent one because it's more. I think there's less knowledge possibly because I don't think it's much bigger. I don't think it's even bigger than the original, but it tells you how to use it. Anyway, so a child's always in the here and now, and that's something that they teach you on the TC, to be in the here and now, not to be worrying about what's to come. You know, not to be latching on to the past, like. Just the here and now. Like today I was on a phone call trying to get through to something, then finally got through after like 40 minutes. He goes, we can't really do now. Yeah, take this number. Didn't even have the number because you have to Google it. Google, he got another number. I'm on the phone for time again, 20 odd minutes. And I swear, yeah, I'm going to start doing some like little mini pods. And come in little rants. I might just do some little Instagram videos or whatever. But I've got a theory that on top of all one of the things anyway that's making us more, our mental health decline more these days, yeah, I'm gonna put it down, not it fully down, but I think this is in the mix. I don't remember growing up, yeah, and my mum having to sit on the phone for just hours and hours and hours, like when I was young. Ring up, eventually get through, or you just ring up again, you get through, you're talking to somebody, some person, and gets dealt with. Now it's just ring. You're speaking to a machine or something, or you gotta press this number, press that, and it's taking ages for them to tell you, like only like 4 or 5 options, but it takes ages for the thing to say it. you've half missed it because you half daydreamed because it took so fucking long. You gotta listen to it all again. Miss it again, gotta listen to it all. This is my process anyway. And then like it's ringing for time, or it's asking you like, what's the postcode? You're like, fucking hell. You know, BZ12. Did you say SS2? No, I didn't say SS2. It's a BZ12. Who put you on to operator? Yes. Put me on to a fucking operator, please. You know what I mean? Like, it's just long and it's just all anxiety driven. Like, I never really wanted to ring these things up because it's just a fucking long thing. Like, for now, it's like, I don't even really need that much. And in the end, at the time as well, I'd always just get frustrated to death and it'd proper burn me. Like, I'd feel like they've done me over. I'd literally feel hurt. So I'm feeling like frustrated, rejected, and hurt. Like they've actually done something to me. Because in the end, it's like, oh, we can't do this. I'd start kicking off and this and that. It's daft kicking off at like a person on the just a caller. Because if I had that job, I don't know that like Steve's flipping, I don't know, thingy's flooded. And I was sat there at work like, yeah, there's a funny one, that's Sue. Yeah, all right, got a call coming through. Hello, Marcus speaking. And some guy's going off sick. I've been waiting, this and that. Okay, sir, like, you know what I mean? I'm a bit upset. Like I'm starting to get annoyed at work now. They've like making me work through my dinner here. Do you know what I mean? I've got to have my dinner half an hour late. I'm starving. He's kicking off, and it's like, what? Like, okay. And he's like, can you do something? It's like, well, we need to get your reference number. He's like, I ain't got a reference number. Fruit letter away. Well, there's nothing we can do, sir. I mean, Steve, I don't know you, kid. Do you know what I mean? And the way that I can access my computer is I've got to put that reference in to get to the next screen. You know, the ones there. So yeah, so I just kick off at him anyway. So yeah, even like the therapists just allow me to like just use life, just get through life a bit easier. Obviously, got people that help me as well. Like, I'll be like, oh, I need to do this, and they'll be like, oh, let me do it because they've been doing it for time. They're just adept at doing this. You've been doing it for 15, 20 years, but I've just started doing it. I never used to ring anybody really. What else? Yeah. So when I found out about like annoyance and frustration, I thought I clocked the therapy. I've been there about 2-3 months. I thought, yo, gone clear here, brother. You know what I mean? I was proper happy. You should have seen me steaming round the fucking wing and that, like, yo, and it's like boom. Because I just felt like I was always, but then it's like it goes deeper than that. Because anger is a secondary emotion. Generally, we'll feel something else first. And then we transmute, we turn it into anger. I think I spoke about it before, so I won't go into it too much now because this is lack of empathy and callousness. So I spoke about having some neglect growing up. And when you are neglected, you don't feel cared for. So going into what I was saying last time on the last pod about needs, my love and belonging needs weren't met. So I'm feeling neglected. If you're not feeling loved or cared for, you're feeling uncared for, which is neglect. So not just like this physical, I was never physically neglected. Like I was always clean clothes. Food was generally there. When I'm saying like there's no food, I'm saying like the odd meal. Do you know what I mean? Because mom was drunk, she can't be asked. And really and truly, I should have been able to, but because I was like babied so much and I had like this entitlement, I just wouldn't cook. Do you know what I mean? So I go like, well, give me some money then. I go to Imran's or I go buy some crunchy nut cornflakes. Like I've ate like a lot of cereal growing up. Do you know what I mean? But I could have really just thrown some fucking turkey dinosaurs or whatever dirty things in the fucking in the fridge, in the oven, and that's it. I could have eaten. Oh gosh, hay fever's killing me, brother. Keeping me up at night and also training. Started training again. I've been back a week now. Yeah, going dedicate like been about 5 times in the past like 8 days or something. Yeah. Maybe no. Yeah, about 5 times. And it's not keeping me up, it's waking me up. Like, it's not even DOMs. The only thing that are DOMing hard are my calves. My calves have been DOMing full-blownly for like a week. Didn't matter about a week ago. Like, that's about a week ago anyway. Forget what day it is. Didn't matter a week ago. And it's like, they're still killing, like they shouldn't really be killing like this. They should be like at like 5-10%. It's still like 80. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's keeping me awake. So yeah, so don't watch the yawning. Me a yawn, got hay fever, and then my body's just waking up because of the training. Probably late night training as well. So go late, go pure gym in it. So I can go anytime, and me I go anytime. Maybe not refueling properly as well. Not on the protein shake yet, so I am going to get. I was watching something earlier on YouTube and thought, you know what am I doing? Got bare protein. Get the fucking protein in your kid. You know what I mean? So protein's going in me. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we start to perceive this neglect and when you start to feel or see that nobody cares, you begin to not care. So it's like learned behavior, innit? So they don't care about me, so I don't care about them. And then becomes everyone that displays neglect. So it's the neglects that's shown at one point. So the neglect becomes a feeling. So I feel neglected now, which leads me to feel sad. And I'll be worried because if it's coming up as well, like if I think neglect's coming, do you know what I mean? Which is the scared emotion, do you know what I mean? The feeling of being worried, it's a scared emotion. And yeah, apologies, I'm just trying to keep the pods going, so I should really be making sure that I'm fully fit and whatever. Like, I'm not ill, it's just the fucking, when you got kind of bad hay fever, all hay fever is your immune system kicking in to try and it thinks it's got an infection. So when it's bad, like mine has been, my body really thinks it's ill. You know what I mean? So it's got it's not ill. Like, there's nothing in there. It's just fucking hay fever. Do you know what I mean? And so it's just pollen. So my body's responding. So I haven't got the feeling. I was doing this to my manager the other day. I'm explaining, like, I haven't got the feeling of. Normally when you're ill, you get that feeling of illness, and then you get the feeling of like the immune system kicking in. But you don't know because it's all part and parcel. But I'm not getting the ill feeling, but I'm getting this other feeling that makes me feel like I'm ill, but I'm not ill. So it's like, I start thinking, that must be the immune system. Anyway, Googled it and it is the fucking immune system, do you know what I mean, kicking in. So that's why I almost feel ill, but I don't feel ill because it's ill, like the negative side first and then your body starts to recover. I haven't got the negative side, I've just got the fucking recovery side kicking in. And the hay fever was triggering like my asthma, like I said last time. Anyway, so then when the feelings come in, so that's when like the callousness and from the lack of empathy starts to come out. Forget the lack of empathy, the callousness starts to come out from not being cared for. Because those feelings, when the feelings come in and we don't know how, I didn't know how I was feeling. When I feel like that amongst other people, that's everybody now. Anybody that I feel neglected about, my callousness will kick in. Do you know what I mean? And it's easier to tap into. So when I was saying to you before about the gangsters one, gangster tourists. When I was talking about the gangster tourists, they will have the same thing. So they felt neglected. So when I was saying I get it, but I don't get it. Because this is the bit that I get, which makes me truly get it, fully get it. Like, but I was busting joke and stuff with the gangster tourist one, and like, because they've got all the basic needs met. They've got a house, they've got this, they've got that. Like my house, my parents' house, you know, they've got clothes, they've got food, they've got water, they've got everything. All the physiological needs is like sorted. Do you know what I mean? Even financially secure because they've got jobs. They don't really need to get jobs, but they're gonna get jobs because the family's pestered with drug dealing, or family's got good jobs and live in nice areas and that, got access to good education. But then this is the bit that makes them susceptible to being the new gangsters up in these bad areas, or in these good areas, sorry, because they felt neglected for whatever reason. And we can't say we don't understand, because rich or poor, everybody's on their phones. Everybody's on the phones. A lot of single like mums. Not blaming the mums, because it could even be the dads as well. But I'm just gonna go off my observations. A lot of single mums, they need partners as well. They're single. Everybody's looking for love, that love and belonging, and possibly just chatting to friends and that, because that's how it is now. We don't really see people that much, and they are in the house, not out of the house. That was one of my mum's excuses. Like, I'm not at the pub. Like, she was going to the pub before when she was all right, but then when she's got bad, like mentally, she stayed at home and drank at home. So the drinking was all the time. It's not like, it's all right if your parents just drink when they go to the pub, because then it's like they're only drinking here and there because it's just going to the pub here and there. So when they're at home, they're sober. But then if they're going to the pub all the time, that means they're always drunk. Or if they drink at home, then they're always going to be drunk as well, because they drink at home, then they're always at home. So it's just excess we're talking about there, excessiveness. Do you know what I mean? Which is gluttony. That's one of the 7 deadly sins. Hey, hello. So yeah. So it's just the same with the phones, on it all the time, whatever, could be for whatever. They might not even be on the phones. They might feel neglected because everyone's got the new COD or the new fucking Fortnite and they haven't. Do you know what I mean? Because you say, wait till Christmas. It's only fucking 4 months away. Like, oh no, I start to feel neglected. Do you know what I mean? If we're not helping them process these things and talking to them, do you know what I mean? It needs to happen from a child, from young. Talk to your kids like an adult and not a child. Do you know what I mean? And working with them and not against them and trying to force them to do stuff that they don't want to do. Because then when they get to the older stages and this hormones kicking in, the teenagers, it's just bare more, it's like rebellion, you know what I mean? But anyway, so that's the callousness. So when it comes to going to the roads, that's why weren't too bad because I had it there in me. Like there's some men that are on the roads that it's mad that they're on the roads because you think, you're too soft. Like you want to spare people, you got mercy in that way. Mercy don't live here, bro. This is a straight gigs gang. Spare no one. Like everyone's getting it. This is the get everybody gang, get anybody gang. You know the ones there. And giggity. Yeah. So that's callousness. Lack of empathy. Empathy, I think, needs to be taught. Like you need to be able to, like I say, have these conversations with your kids of putting them in that situation, like mentally putting them in that situation. Like think about not having this, not having that. Do you know what I mean? It's something that has to be taught. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it can come natural to some people. Sympathy does. But then again, we don't know if it's real sympathy or not because people sympathize around us all the time. But sympathy means nothing. Because you can be as sympathetic as you like. If you're super sympathetic, you're sad all the time because you're sad for everybody's stuff. Do you know what I mean? It can be the same for empathy as well. Because people high in empathy. They're like those on fire from a corner, man. But yeah. So people that are high in empathy are very empathetic or empathic can be always down as well because they're always looking through someone else's eyes like fucking hell, like that poor kid. Jeez. Now when you hear something on like, you know, you read in the news and that, like when some mad stuff happens to some kids, or even like listen, adults happen, or someone's been killed or run over, or they're going through this, or even if it's not happened to that person, if not in that person's who the things happen to, like the secondary victims, which is the family of the person. So just say someone's been run over, they're the first victim, the primary victim, and then the person's family that's got to go around to the hospital all the time. You know, they're thinking, what the fuck's happened to my child? Do you know what I mean? Or my whatever, like they're going to do this and do that, and probably got to look after the kids and stuff, but then just go to the hospital and make sure this and that's done, and, you know, make decisions on flipping surgeries and this and next steps and da. Like, there's a lot going on. Then there's the third, which is probably the kids or the friends of the person or the family of the secondary. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of victims going on. So if you're always in someone else, I think like, fucking, oh yeah. It's like, it's something you have to turn off because my like empathy was on hard up there on that TC. Like when it finally came, how did it come about? It was just from being sat in the groups. Yeah. So this is group learning, yeah? So this is group shit. And this is one of the beneficial things, Google it. This is one of the beneficial things of group therapy. So you're just picking up new, like, because it becomes, you're picking up new cultures. If it's got a good culture, healthy culture, you're picking up good cultures and good, you're picking up morals from there, like how to do things. You're picking up like little tools and that. It's all learned behavior. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're like feeling connected to that group, therefore feeling respected, feeling that love and belonging. So you're getting that like that third and fourth need met that I was talking last week, and even that secondary need if you feel safe in it. But there'll be times when you don't feel safe because you're feeling attacked of what they're saying because they're challenging your narrative. Now they might just be saying, but what makes you think that? And you can't believe they said that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, like, what do you mean? Like I was told. So now you're feeling attacked, do you know what I mean? But once you start learning these healthy behaviours, rather than want to duke it out lyrically with them, like, what do you mean? Like, want to switch it back? Like, what do you mean? I just told you, and start getting mad. You'll start to scrap to explain why it's that and to show your worth in terms of your understanding and why you think that, or how you'd ask them just some question like, oh, well, why would you think like that? And they're like, oh no, because of and it's giving you food for thought to think, oh right, that's the way to think about it. So then that pathway that you've got with it, you've like discarded it and you've made a new pathway, their pathway, like, oh, that's how I think about it. And you constantly think about this thing like that. So that just fades away. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. So you're constantly making, and then you're borrowing new pathways, like an irrigated field, my lad. You know, when the farmer boy there, hey look, hey, my name's Farmer Yardy, and I like to party, rolling with my spliff. Won't you take, remember that? Like, run, rabbit, run. What was his name? That Deneo. Oh, you guys are too, hey. You know, Farmer Yardy was Deneo's little alter ego thing on some tune like bounce, bounce with it. Mr. Fidget, get with it, or something. Mr. Fidget, get with it. I don't know if it was called Mr. Fidget as well. Anyway, so yeah, so then you start like making like from like a strand of hair to like a twig to a branch to a fucking tree trunk to a tree. You get me, like full blown thick connection, neural pathway. So you start thinking about the new way. Do you know what I mean? And you start like fighting to get better. Once you get over that hill of like all your bullshit, and you start lightening your load of all your past negative stuff and all your negative behaviours and all your negative friends and how they go off and all your family, all the negativity that they do that you don't even realise negative. Because everyone does it, you think it's normal. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that you're always, you're always feeling sad and all this and that, you miss completely that is negative. Being angry all the time or frustrated or sad all the time, that's all negative. Like, you don't understand that your life's just all negative because you're around all negative people because everyone else does the same. It's very rare that you find someone that's just sat there just completely serene and enlightened amongst a bunch of people that just yeah, and I fucking bang you, fucking dickhead. I mean, what? Where are you? I get the thing now. Like, forget all that. Forget all that. And that's another thing as well. Just to touch on it quickly. I don't want to make this like a religious thing. But when I completed the therapy now, and I've gone back to like religion, Muslim, Islam, should I say, these times now, I got it more. Where it was just kind of words before and it kind of hit a little bit. That's obviously why I reverted. But once I'd done the TC and I just garnered all that info, made all that headway within myself and introspection and just understood myself on a different way, different level. And when I started reading these texts now, I'm thinking, rah. Because throughout I've been reading counselling literature and like the origin of counselling and how counselling's got its roots in the church. Not just the church, because it was saying the church because it was Western, it was Sigmund Freud, where it came from like Europe. The church is like European kind of thing. So obviously from the synagogues, from the church, from the mosques, from the, is it synagogue, is that the Jewish one? Yeah. And others, that's where people went for sound advice. Don't go to their little divvy mates. They just chat absolute nonsense and just make you out like you're an idiot for wanting to do the better, the right. Do you know what I mean? For you to seek higher things, you would go to someone that's you trust and that's, you know what I mean? So understanding that, and then so much time later coming back to the text and that and getting back on Dean's what you like call it's like religion in Arabic or something. So getting back on the Dean now, it was like got it on a different level. Just understood it on a different level. Like understood what they were trying to say, understand the reasoning for doing certain things. Like because within therapy and within counselling, you're not just like learning to like you're listening. It's all weird. So somebody can say something, but they're displaying a different behaviour. So it's the behaviour that speaks louder than the words. It's being able to take people for face value for what they're saying and not just always assuming they're chatting shit. Because that's my stuff that's making me think that I can't trust no one because my trust issues. So when you've got someone in your life that's always like, oh, they're chatting shit, oh, them, not this, that's their stuff, that's their trust issues. Now the person might be lying, but you have to think to yourself, as long as you don't put yourself in a situation where you will be negatively impacted if this person is lying, then to believe that person, what does it mean to you? Because you're not going to lose out. Because they're starting to weigh up these things like, oh, okay, so I can listen to this person, or I can understand what they're saying, and I can hear what they're saying, and they're saying this, so I'll believe that for now. Because at the end of the day, whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't affect me. It's probably another reason why, like conspiracy and that, I don't even care, because whether it is that or it isn't that, it doesn't affect me. Like, it'll always be what it'll be. So if I think, yeah, whatever that conspiracy may be, if I think, yeah, that's how it is, and tomorrow I'm still going to work and I'm still doing this, and the interest rates are still going up and blah, 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 blah. Because he lives still there. Now, if I don't believe that one bit and I'm a sheep or whatever, and I'm thinking this, that, the other, same thing, I'm still going to work, I'm still this and that, interest rates still going up. Like, what does it matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, however I chase my tail, what does it even mean? Anyway, so I think from that's it. So sitting in the groups and listening to people's stories, and then so someone would give us a story, a deep story. The man suffered some abuse or something, some physical or sexual abuse as a child. You know what I mean? And at first it's like, what? Like mad. But then there's other people that have been in the group longer, and I'm thinking, like I'm sat there thinking, oh, this is fucking crazy talk. Like, what am I listening to? Like, never heard nobody fucking say this. It's just TV stuff. And I probably won't even watch that either. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I apologise for the sniffing, but hey, the show must go on into it. And then somebody else who'd been on there for a while longer than me would chime in from an empathic way, like, rah. And almost filling the gaps, like, yeah, it must have been like when this, that. And that's the processing going on, like the understanding, and that's where the connections are being built. Like, when I say connections, I mean like he's connecting with him, they're relating, even though he hasn't been through that. But then what the glue is, this is what I was getting to with the feelings and that, is they're talking about he doesn't really know how he's feeling, and then the guy who's like empathizing with him, who's been there longer than us or whatever, or got more of an understanding, will be like, oh, yeah, well, that must be like really scary, and that's horrifying, that's horrific, yeah, this and that. That other person they're just trying to control you, and what they be getting from that control, and this and that. And then once that control was broken, once you said something, when they didn't really say something, it's when they did something back to that person, how you took the control, and how that person's just like cowering now, and now they're always now that you're grown up and blah blah, just a mad thing. And it's like, once again, it's not thinking about it like that, how I'm thinking, like, this is mad. Like, it's not that thought pattern's not going nowhere. It's not learning. It's not helping no one. Like, if someone asked me a question in a test, and I thought, oh, that's mad. Or if I did it reverse, like flipping Jeopardy or something, like, what is mad? Don't reverse engineer it into what he's just said, because I haven't said nothing. So that means I'm not thinking nothing. Do you know what I mean? So then thinking about it like on that pattern, what you said, like, rah, yeah. Like, I'm just going through it in my mind, thinking, rah. Then he's piping up, and then someone else is piping up, and someone's trying to, other new people like me, or that are almost as new as me, because there was a time when I was the newest in the group, obviously, and everyone's piping up. So he's been here 2 weeks, he's been here 4 weeks, he's been here 4 months, he's been here 9 months, he's been here fucking 15 months. Like, everyone's chiming up from all different like levels and abilities and length of times. They've been on the TC, and then starting to think different, thinking that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, raw, like, and then starting to understand feelings. Like, so when someone's talking about something that I haven't actually been through, when they're saying I was scared, I was worried, once I realized when I was scared, because I just assumed it was all adrenaline and I'm ready to go and pump. Do you know what I mean? I started to realize, like, fuck, I could access my feelings, and like, I've been scared. So imagine me going through that, like, because they'll be like, oh, my uncle is that, so I'd play some uncle, or I'd do this, or do you know what I mean? And that's where the empathy began to grow, because I'm hearing how other people are linking in with this person's story. I'm starting to understand my feelings, so when they're talking about their feelings, I don't have to be in their situation to know that they're scared, or the level of scared. If they were talking about how scared they was, or how they weren't that scared, I'd hit my peaks in, like, my memories of what piqued my fear, or when I weren't as scared but I was scared still. So I mean, so then be able to like link their thought pattern with that situation, and then my feelings give me like the cocktail of, like I said, being able to empathize with people and put myself in their shoes, rather than just being like, oh, because to me, like, all I used to do before, oh, what the fuck, like, not like man up, but like things like that, like, what the fuck, get up, fix up, man, you're a gangster, aren't you? Like, what the fuck, like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't do this. That's what I'd be like saying, we don't do this. We don't think like that. Fuck her or fuck them. Like, we don't. Whoa, do you know what I mean? But it's to give people that strength. You're trying to give people strength, do you know what I mean? But there's not, you're not identifying, but you're not, what I wasn't doing, or what we weren't doing for each other, is we weren't helping people process, to allow them to move on, to deal with it more. They're still staying in that bubble because they're just kind of half forgetting about it, and then just putting more armor on. So we're all walking around with fucking like 10, 15 fucking like suits of armor. Do you know what I mean? So like when so you think this is a big person, by the time they take them all off, it's just a child. It's like, whoa, where's the 50-foot fucking? And that's what you're left with because they've never been able to grow from it, and that's what allowed me to grow. So yeah, the lack of empathy. That was a big. This is why I always say this is why, because all of it's why I'm able to be who I am. Do you know what I mean? But the lack of empathy, that was a big one still. Because obviously when it comes down to my victims, that I didn't give a shit. At the time, I didn't give a fuck. Like when I was like in prison, when I first like locked up and that, I'm thinking I'm the victim here. Like they've grasped on me. They chat shit that night. I've dealt with them at our G does, and then they've had the audacity to grasp on me when they started it. Like it was mad. Anyway. And then being able to like look at the situation and think, right, okay. Understanding, like I said, that they're the victims. Who I made a victim that night. So there were them two guys that had physically attacked. Then I think one went to get the bouncers or something, or the bouncers have come in. So then they've seen these guys claret up, cut to bits. Then the police probably came in, but obviously definitely an ambulance came in. So I'm creating more trauma. Like I've just gave them another little trauma marble in their fucking glass jar of what they have to see and what they have to go through and how they have to pick it up. Then obviously the cleaners cleaning all that shit up, because even if they didn't see any of it, they're just looking at the fucking pools of blood and everything. It's just mental. So somebody's got to clean it up, whether the bouncers or the cleaners or whatever. So there's all that. Then you'd be like, if you haven't, they'd be speculating or thinking in your mind like, what happened? Yeah, I bet this happened and like, so that's more trauma going through your mind. You shouldn't have to think about blood and fucking guts and this and that and term. It's not something we should have to think about. Do you know what I mean? We should be on a higher frequency, higher, just on higher things. I'm building towards. Like I was saying, if we're all mercenaries, all barbarians, and all just going off wicked and bad like we think we are, there would be no fucking cameras, there'd be no mics, there'd be no fucking anything, because we'd just be destroying everything we come across. Do you know what I mean? So you have to take our hats off to the builders of the world, the people that create and innovate and put their ideas from here onto paper and then bring it into fruition from whether it's made out of metal or plastic or this or that or wood. You know what I mean? And that's how we all should be. Imagine if we was all on that thing, all on the growth thing. It'd be mental. The world would be mental. But right now we're mental and we're just going to fuckery. You know what I mean? Chatting shit, getting drunk and fucking high and, you know what I mean? Complaining about shit. Yeah, so then they go to the hospital, then they're making victims of the nurses. Anybody else is just in the trauma thing. They've just stubbed their toe. They're having to watch these men getting wheeled in mash up. Do you know what I mean? Then it's like the doctors and the surgeon or whatever they see, I don't know. Anaesthetists, like it just goes on and on. Then there's their families. Do you know what I mean? Their families, mums, dads, girls, whatever, brothers, whatever's gonna turn up, see them all mash up. To go knock onto their friends at work and that, if they're taking time off work, boss and that, like there's sickness and stuff going in. You know, it just goes on and on and on. Understanding these things. You know what I mean? Like it's not just these people that you're hurting; it expands to some way, shape, or form. Like. And like I say, all of them are just getting a little marble in their fucking trauma jar. Like, you never know what might push somebody over the edge. Might be a kid in the A&E that's seen these people just wielding first time ever. And if I didn't do that, they wouldn't have seen it that night. They might have seen it another time, but not that night. I'm the reason that child's seen it that night. Do you know what I mean? They're asking mummy, like, what's happened to these guys? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, not gonna know because, but that's just how it is. Do you know what I mean? So that's part of like. So when I say I don't want to mash people up, so much of that joke and this and that, and you know, nigga would still, hey, you know, play with me and bully. No, but on a real one, all jokes aside, that's why I don't want to or won't, because there's consequences, and I understand what I'm capable of. I understand what people aren't capable of, because they're all mad and they think they're bad and they just do whatever, and then it's, do you know what I mean? So they don't even know what they're even walking into, because they haven't even got these skills, these thinking skills, because these are just thinking skills. Do you know what I mean? To be able to utilize the mind to, instead of worrying about the future, something that hasn't come, instead of worrying about the past or being sad about the past, using those same like mind strands, so like the worry, not worry, but using the ability to see into the future, to see what consequences may come from it. Like, it's to see who I may affect. Do you know what I mean? The same strand of like going back into the past, and instead of being like sad about it, being able to access it and utilize what data I've got and how I was and what I did and what someone else did. Because when there's like a bit of an issue like with work, and I know how to deal with it now because it just clicked. Because I'm new to the game, I don't really know what to do. I thought about one of my colleagues. My man's a bad man, not on that level. In the workplace, he's sick still. Do you know what I mean? We haven't had much time together, but my man knows what I'm going. And I am going to adopt his thing. Because I was telling you before, innit? I swear I've told you already. But we chat so much of this stuff to be people. We never know when we drop it on a pod or we drop it on real life for my friend them. Hey, hello. Or if I'm at work, colleagues and that. Anyway, so I swear I've already told you that I'll adopt somebody's mind frame. So I've got my boy now, Tom, yeah? I think I'm a left brain thinker. He's the opposite to me. He's logical, step to goal. I'm starburst. I'll go here, goal. Do you know what I mean? You probably can tell by the podcast. The way the podcast went, do you know what I mean? I was chatting about this at first and then that, and then I've seen these other Sheffield man, Bird is the Word, Bit Word Network. They're funny still. I'm not sure if they're on at the moment, but big up them Sheffield man still. Check them out. Bitword Network, or Bird is the Word. It's got like a yellow circle with like a black bird in the middle. They're good still. They're funny. And I didn't even realize I was like, it's not like I was copying them. I was like responding to like one of their something that I wasn't responding, but they said something and I didn't do what they said. They did. So I started like, it was mental. Do you know what I mean? But that's how much it had like influenced me in a sense in the one of the early couple of pods. But yeah, Young Spray, I watch Young Spray's pod, really than most, and that's influenced me a lot. And I just thought, you know what, fuck it. He's been realer than real in terms of like talking about certain things and that, and he has said some profound things that I thought, this man's supposed to be a madman. And how is he saying the opposite view, especially like on certain political terms where the norm, especially for a black man, is to say that. If you say anything else but that, it's normally from somebody else or someone that get called Uncle Tom, but he won't get told Uncle Tom or any kind of bounty or anything. So he, seeing one of them episodes where he dropped something, yeah, it made me think, whoa, he's on a similar thread but a different wave to man. Or on a similar wave but a different thread. So this was just before, you know what, this is, and it just suits me right down to the suits. I'm going to start writing fucking scripts and shit and doing it like that, but that's not me still. I can write still. You know, I've written a few stories and that. Like if I do branch off and start doing some different types of pods, I might mention that stuff. I'm not too sure. Because this is my main bread and butter, and this is me trying to get me across. I don't think the old pods were getting me across still, but I just left them up because they're up now. But these few pods that I've been doing probably since like pod 14 or 15 or something, maybe 16. This is where I feel like I'm getting me across, where I'm, you know, I can share what I was like and, you know, half joke, touch back on it in the here and now, but then speak about how I really am and how I go forward and how I've come to what I did to get to go forward, my understanding of things. It's not crystal clear, and there'll be times where I'm going to touch back on these things because they're just ad hoc. I just think, I'm just going to record, just jump on the thing, and that's the thing that I got off Morgs and that, and another podcast, No Behaviour podcast. He's like, I'm just always recording. His Benji's like, what are you recording? He's like, I'm always recording, bro. Doesn't come in, I'm just recording. Like, just pick up what's going on. Like, whatever's going on, pick it up. That's it. And I thought, rah. So yeah, it'd be nice to, you know what I mean? But anyway, forget fucking going into that stuff. But yeah. So yeah, it's just using the skills that we already have. We already have the ability to think about the future. We have the ability to tap into the past. But like I say, all we do is get sad about the past. Everyone's just so fucking good at getting sad and depressed about the past. Do you know what I mean? And sticking in their traumas and not trying to do anything about it. I've seen a good thing what Kevin, is it Kevin Williams? He's passed away now. And they were talking to, he's always on women, I don't know what it's about. But it's like these women that like what they call delusional. Where she's like, you know, it just looks like, from what you can see of her on the video chat, she just looks like any old normal girl. She's got kids. She's in her fucking late 20s, early, mid, late 30s or early 40s, whatever. She's whatever age. But it just looks like a normal girl, normal person, got kids, mediocre job, like, but yet she wants a 6'4", 200 grand a year guy, and it's like, and Kevin's just like, well, why would they go for you? Well, if they've got all of this stuff and you've got no, except like the clothes on your back and kids, what makes you? And it's funny as well because people, I just don't feel like people said what they wanted out loud before. People just fall in and out relationship, and it's just kind of, you're around people back then. You just didn't see everything online. So you're around people, and you had to be around someone to get with someone. Do you know what I mean? Pub, club, street, work, whatever, like family friend or whatever. You had to be in some kind of contact, physical contact, or in a physical plane with somebody. We don't know. I feel like people say what they want. People are trying to pin it down. But it's just weird. Like some of the things that people say, like it's just out, and it's just like, well, how would, it just don't compute. Like why would that be with you? Even the other way around, if it was men saying some mad stuff, like why so high? What's such a high reach? But yeah, that's another pod. I'll speak about duties and stuff. But yeah, so what he must have said, this one girl said something about, a guy never something with my traumas, and basically like she's traumatized from her past, and guys never this and that, and they're all da-da-da. And he's like, but what have you done for yourself? Have you been to therapy? When you're feeling a certain way, are you able to control yourself and be able to not push your traumas onto that man for that man to leave? She's like, no, I ain't been to therapy, and no, I can't do that. He's like, well, that's on you then, isn't it? Like, and this is what I'm trying to say about you having that mindset of like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to. You have to take action in your own life to move forward, which I wouldn't have known, because I've gone to the TC passively. I've gone there passively. I went there for an easy time. I'm sat in Loudon Grange, easy jail. Easy jail, Cat B, long-termers, private prison. We've got fucking all the channels. We're chilling. We've got bad boy TVs. You can plug the stick directly into the USB, directly into the TV. B man, I got them things to put things on your stick and that. And it's blessed, nice, bare sticks. Like, it's nice. Not with the phones in there. There's a screw called the phone jacker. Man, I come through and take your phone, you know. I'm just going to wrap this up now anyway. And anyway, so there was a guy that's already been there. He told me what to write. A guy's giving me his form for me to write what I need to write. And he didn't even get to go. The lifer who told me what to write, he wasn't bothered. The guy gave me his form for the lifer to help me to write on it. He got shipped out, fucking cat A. I put it in. Then he said I was going to go. My bedroom was supposed to go, I think. Ruben, he didn't want to go. So I just went, and that was it. But it was the best thing to happen to me. And then them two guys come and sat next to me. And then there's like, oh, when are you going to start doing therapy? And this and that. And I'm thinking, first, I think I've kicked off about this, about them sitting there. Why are you making me like turn my head like I'm some dickhead? Do you know what I mean? But it was the kick up the arse that I needed. Because I'm like, oh, it'll kick in when it kicks in. It'll start when it starts. But it doesn't start when it starts. It's not a passive thing. It doesn't just... That's like never picking up a book to learn fucking algebra and thinking you're going to learn algebra. You have to open the book, get your pen, write some stuff down, understand the formulas, work it out, start it again, hand it in, get it wrong, bring it back, let them see where you got it wrong, do it over again. It's all active. It's active learning. And I took it fucking serious. But yeah, I'm not special like I said before. You can change your life. You just have to stop being passive and hoping that it happens. With the pills, if you're not really a pill person, like you're not severe like that, just fuck the pills, like, do you know what I mean? Just hoping that it happens. Do you know what I mean? But it's, oh gosh. I need to stop talking about that, so I'm going down that route, but it just really gets me, because you guys have got it, man. You've got it to be whoever you want to be. Like I say, we can be creators of this world and to do whatever we need to do. Do you know what I mean? Just get rid of all that negativity. But yeah, I'm going to end this one here. That's how I got unlocked my empathy and how I stopped being callous. Marcus, the Kinky Lifestyle Podcast.